So as promised, and also sorry for the break there, I had to get a few things situated. Also, I'm currently dealing with my car not starting, unfortunately, due to the cold. So I gotta get that worked out, but anyway, first slot we're filling up is with the deck by Deondre Thomas. Thank you for your suggestion. Just gonna quickly go over it before we get into the free battles here. Also note, I'm doing some of the new 6-star free battles with it, so I'm going to be attempting to kill 2 birds with 1 stone as I get suggestions to fill up my slots. But, let me get back to this event soon, hold on. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm going to be attempting to do that as I get suggestions to fill up the slots here, so after this one, there's only going to be room for 17 more ideas. So just remember that you're posting slot when you're starting off with whatever it is you're proposing. If that's your aim. If you're just aiming to do a suggestion, just put suggestion at the top and that'll let me know what it's for. But anyway, I give a deck, I would say I'll give any deck an attempt of 1 to 3 times on 1 free battle, and if that doesn't work out, then I'll just plow through it with one of my own go-to decks. I don't think I'm going to have that issue, though. I've been seeing some really good suggestions as of recent. One thing I will note is that he didn't suggest any dupes for any of the figures. I will go over the figure numbers as well as the character skills. I just put everyone with dupes entirely into attack, by the way, but here the skills I'm running on few. Defense up forward, defense up every turn, of HP cure, of HP P50L, figure number 608, figure 615 with 80 MFA, ultimate gauge down every turn, of HP cure, of HP 50L, figure 532 with attack up ODU, speed up ODU, and ultimate gauge down every turn. Here we have EX41, attack up ODU, speed up ODU, and ultimate gauge down every turn. And finally, one of the OG figures that came out with Hero Colosseum, figure 45 with attack up ODU, speed up ODU, and of HP, cure of HP 50L. Let's get right into it. One thing I'm going to give the deck praise for right away too, is that I'm noticing that there is coverage all across the board. Very fond of that. That is one of my personal biggest pet peeves. I also find it interesting that he suggested ODU skills on Piccolo, but I get it, he's still getting defense each turn. So you could very well get away with doing that on defensive figures, run ODU up skills on them. Also, I just realized that's the corrupted Murtsumasu. I'm gonna get hit in the back the first turn here. On the plus side, I am getting a counterattack with Gogeta right away, so that helps. By the way, if you're noticing at all at points that my game looks different than normal, it's because I'm using a shader. And I personally just think that it makes the game look a hell of a lot better. Also, something I was able to finally do recently after a lot of trial and error, a lot of research, I managed to get Xenoverse 2 running without any stutters or any frame drops on the PC version, and a lot of it comes down to, if you're like me, I'm not counting Hero Colosseum doing that, by the way. Also, I'm recording, so you're probably going to see that here and there anyway, but when I'm not recording, and I'm like doing parallel quests with friends and whatnot, I tested it with this really good browser that I recommend any gamer use if they're playing on PC, called Opera, because that really limits the amount of CPU and GPU that's going to be tasked from your computer while you're trying to watch videos on a 2-monitor setup, like me, for example. Gio's probably going to kill him, like, Gogeta here. That kind of sucks, but oh well. But yeah, like I was getting at, is there'll be times when I'm doing parallel quests or whatever with friends. Specifically, the one I do the most is 122. And at certain points and intervals where characters are using ultimates or supers or they're talking, Yeah, the PC version is not as optimized as the console version. At the same time, though, there are thankfully workarounds. It's just you have to jump through a lot of hoops to get it as stable as the console versions. The biggest advantage is that the PC port has, which I think heavily outweigh the cons, are not only do we get access to tools, we also get access to mods, and pretty much instant load times. They're like non-existent. Kind of nice. But yeah, I was testing it out recently. I had a playlist that I was watching on my other screen here. There was not a single time I noticed where I was getting a stutter or frame drops, so it's nice to finally have that all worked out. Now, if only I could get my stupid car situation worked out. It probably just needs a jump. It's just doing a lot of revving and clicking. Ironic for it to happen to me, too, because given my job, I work, roadside assistance full-time doing dispatch. It sucks when it happens to you, because you can't go anywhere. I couldn't even go out to restock on more of Mouse's wet food. I still have enough for a couple days, but I gotta inconvenience my mom to take me to work in the morning, so that's great. But all that crap aside, it's nice to see a deck put together with a lot of the new figures. Also, recently I just started on JoJo Part 6. I actually just got done binging a little while ago. I sat there for a few hours or so. Got through the first 12 episodes. Looking forward to the rest. Hopefully the rest coming out in March. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a bit of a longer part, though. I don't know too much about Part 6 other than some of the characters, stands, names, and I already know how it ends. And that I'm very much looking forward to. Let's see, let's get Gogeta down here. And a little bit... No. Actually, hold on. Yeah, fuck it, we'll run Zamasu. Okay, that sucks. I might have just lost your number here. Pretty freaking good so far, though. I would definitely recommend watching Part 6, assuming you're all caught up. Just don't expect to see too much of Jotaro yet. Hopefully. I would get into why on that, but that's spoilers, so I'm not going to get too much into it right now. Plus, if you've watched Part 3, you already know what happens to him, which actually does happen at the end of Part 6. You get a very small glimpse of what ends up happening with Jotaro in Part 3. It's when Boingo briefly teams up with Whole Horse. That actually does happen, and it sucks. Also, if you're getting mad at me for spoiling that just now, I didn't spoil that for you. The anime already did that, so yeah. I mean, we see it right there. I'm gonna go ahead and do this just to be safe. It feels just generally a lot safer to start off with Piccolo and keep him on there for as long as you can get away with. You can build so many decks around him still, it's ridiculous. Like, even now, in the latest lifespan of the game, he came out with the game so freaking long ago, like a couple, 3 years maybe. And he's still top tier. It's ridiculous how good he is. I'm also really thankful that my hell with the monitors seems like it's over now. Recently, also, I'm pretty sure a few of you are already aware, I'm like a huge Kill la Kill fan. I've watched the English dub like 15 freaking times. But recently, I got the game with a gift card while it was on sale on Steam, so might be doing a playthrough for that game on the channel, might not. I really want to, though, for one reason, but I'll save that for later, if I decide to go ahead and upload it. You should see how much I have on my to-watch list, though. It's ridiculous. Still haven't started watching Beyond the Boundary. I'm still haven't started episode 2 of Steins Gate. I really should, though. Still haven't started on Eden Zero. There's a bunch of anime for me to catch up on, actually. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that, too, here and there. Oh, no. A Pan. What am I gonna do about Pan? There's no way I can take care of this Pan in front of me. That's another thing I'm looking forward to, the new Dragon Ball Super movie, although I have to say I'm really not a fan of how they're doing it all in 3D animation. I don't like how it looks compared to Dragon Ball Super Broly. Hopefully, though, it delivers. It's really difficult to catch in the trailer, but if you look closely and go slowly frame by frame, you will notice Goku is doing some training with Broly, it looks like. Alright, so that takes care of Majub. I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed with the deck so far. I know they're just 6-star free battles, but even then, the numbers that the figures are putting out, very impressive so far. Let's finish this one off with Gohan. Let's just go over their posing skills really quick, too. So I forgot what Few does, so let's see. Plus 350 attack to all figures. All figures. So, all figures, including opponents. Minus 250 speed to all opponents. At the end of the turn, minus 50% to opponent's ultimate attack gauge when their ultimate attack gauge is at 80% or higher, once only. Minus 1000 attack to all opponents. Okay, that's useful. And then plus 1000 to own attack. And then the Fusamasu. I'm assuming that Deondre is adjusting this one because if you're trying to use the original Fusamasu, I think you're doing it wrong. I just don't think he's that good at all. Place on a trigger score for plus 10% to own the damage dealt. Very nice. And increase own attack, defense, and speed by 30% of defeated opponents. Stacks during that turn only. That's really handy to have. Like, even though it's just for that turn, that's still really nice to have. And then we have still one of the most busted figures in the game. Place an trigger square for plus 10%. Damage taken by all opponents. That's repeatable. Very nice. And survive a fatal attack with 1 HP once only. If 1 HP is at 10% or lower at the end of the turn. Plus 1500 attack and plus 20% ultimate attack damage once only. Yeah, he's really freaking solid. Like his lack of HP and defense compared to the rest of his stats aren't even that big of an issue, given that part of his posing skill where he can survive 1 fatal attack. That is so great to have. And I would say let's go over the Gogeta at least. Place center trigger square for plus 1,000 to own speeds. Dexter in that turn only. So he's great if you're trying to go first. Place in center or back row to attack all opponents at the cost of 60% to own attack once that turn only. Attack first to deal damage equal to 10% opponent's max HP to all enemies. So that's not too bad of a thing, especially if you have a bunch of opponents on the field that are low and you just want to get rid of them. Then that's something you can do. Otherwise, just use the bottom right and the bottom left. That's still a nice, backup plan, though. Gives you something to fall back on. Go ahead and put Vegeta down and Zamasu. Actually, no, I want to get Janama built up this game. So let's do this. There we go. Also, thank you to Ms. Sachetti, who did answer that for me with the second Super UR Gohan. So on even turns, he's only locking himself in place, and that's it. I still think that sucks, so I'm not going to use him. At least in my personal go-to decks. I mean, if any of you want to fill up the remainder of my slots with him or anyone, you know, feel free to go for it. I just ask that you try to use figures that you would see in competitive use. If not, then definitely ones that are just as good, if not just as viable. That's kind of the whole point of this. Just to fill up the slots with really decent and varied decks. So, for example, you suggested one to me with, like, the worst URs in the game, kind of like Rocket Robo did. Yeah, expect that to not get its own slot. Or Team Full Ribrian. Sorry, it's not happening. I also do have a couple of update videos I'm going to be making in the near future, centering around all of my partners, and, for that matter, all of my created characters, because I've changed quite a few things on them. Also, for anyone hoping or wondering that the devs would fix Savory Slicer, they did actually fix that, so it won't just whiff or consume your energy bar, no matter what distance you're at, it'll always go off properly. Because there was a glitch happening for the longest time where you use that, it will make the sound and eat up your bar, but it doesn't actually do the animation. But thankfully they did fix that, so I would recommend if you're still using Deadly Dance, go ahead and replace that with Saber Slicer, assuming you have the DLC for it. Also, there's one super attack that I feel like it's overlooked and doesn't get enough credit, for spamming on strikers especially. The second you break someone's guard with one of your strike attackers, you know, after you just guard them and heavy break them, just start spamming Kamehameha Boost right away. The amount of damage that move does is ridiculous. And it's useful in so many situations. You can use that as a reposition tool. You can use that to fire behind you, at whoever might be behind you, while propelling yourself forward. It makes you a bit more evasive as you're going after your opponent. Say, for example, you're surrounded by AI, and they're firing a bunch of Ki Blasts at you. It's just a really good move. I'll be showing it off more, though, in an upcoming vid. But, yeah, hope you all enjoyed the, new slot by Deondre Thomas. I'm definitely going to be keeping this around. Very good deck, all things considered. I was thoroughly impressed with it. The amount of damage, and plus the amount of defense and HP it even has. But yeah, other than that, the speed's great. The defense is even really good, especially for your master with Piccolo. You could just build so many decks around him. He's that good of a figure. And it certainly helps having that extra HP from Few as well. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.